Alberta should not exist. Not as a province, not as an economy, not as one of the wealthiest places in North America. It is landlocked, no port, no ocean, no natural exit to global markets, surrounded by mountains on one side and thousands of miles of wilderness on the other. And one day, the world may realize it was sitting on the wrong side of the most important energy decision in history. These are 10 geography facts about Alberta that nobody teaches in school. And by number 1, you will understand how a place that geography designed to fail became one of the most powerful energy regions on Earth. Let's count down. Number 10, the Geographic prison. Alberta has no coastline, no navigable rivers to the ocean, no natural harbor within 500 miles. For most of human history, this was a death sentence for economic development. Cities form where friction is lowest, where rivers meet oceans, where trade routes converge. Alberta has none of these. The Rocky Mountains wall off its western edge. The Canadian Shield blocks its east. Arctic wilderness sits to the north, the U.S. border to the south. Alberta is not just landlocked. It is landlocked behind multiple layers of geographic obstacle. By all logic, nothing of economic significance should have developed here. Number 9, the size of the problem. Alberta covers 255,000 square miles, larger than France, larger than Texas, and almost none of it is near a coast, a major river system, or a global trade route. The largest population centers in North America, Boston, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, are all over 2,000 miles away. Most of Alberta's interior is boreal forest, muskeg, permafrost, terrain that makes infrastructure construction slow, expensive, and technically brutal. The oil sands alone cover 142,000 square kilometers, larger than the entire state of Florida. And from space, you can see them. The mining operations are so vast that NASA satellites have tracked their expansion year by year, a man-made industrial footprint visible from orbit, sitting in the middle of a Canadian forest. This is the land that sits on top of the 4th largest proven oil reserve on Earth. Only Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and Iran have more. Number 8, oil that doesn't flow. Here is what makes Alberta's oil unlike any other reserve on Earth. It is not liquid. The Athabasca oil sands sit in northeastern Alberta, covering 142,000 square kilometers, roughly the size of Florida. Beneath that boreal forest lies an estimated 166 billion barrels of recoverable oil. But it is bitumen, a dense, tar-like substance mixed with sand, clay, and water. It does not flow. It does not pump. To extract it, you either mine the surface, moving 2 tons of earth for every single barrel, or you inject steam deep underground to melt it enough to pump it out. Both methods are expensive. Both are energy intensive. And yet, in 2024, Alberta produced 4.1 million barrels per day from oil that doesn't flow. Coming up, a pipeline built on frozen ground that should have been impossible. The price penalty Alberta pays because of its geography, and the Indigenous people who knew about this oil for thousands of years before anyone figured out how to use it. Keep watching. Number 7, the impossible pipeline. Getting Alberta's oil out requires pipelines, long ones, crossing mountains, rivers, borders, and thousands of miles of terrain to reach a port where oil can be loaded onto tankers. The Trans Mountain Pipeline, the only one reaching the Pacific coast, runs 1,150 kilometers through 3 mountain ranges. It took years of legal battles, Indigenous consultations, and federal intervention to expand. Its current capacity, 890,000 barrels per day, one pipeline, to one Pacific port, carrying less than a quarter of Alberta's daily production. The rest moves south into the United States through the Enbridge Main Line, carrying over 3 million barrels per day to American refineries. 6 major export pipelines, each one a political and engineering achievement, each one still not enough. Number 6, the Alberta penalty. Here's the geographic trap nobody talks about. When there is only one buyer, or only one pipeline to reach other buyers, the buyer sets the price. American refineries, knowing Alberta's oil has nowhere else to go, have historically paid less for Alberta crude than the global benchmark price. This discount is called the Alberta penalty. It has cost the province billions of dollars over decades. Alberta sits on the 4th largest oil reserve on Earth, and it does not control the price of its own oil. Geography giveth, geography taketh away. Number 5, the $17 billion province. And yet, Alberta keeps producing. In 2025, oil sands royalties alone generated $17 billion for the Alberta government. That figure is equivalent to 67% of Alberta's entire healthcare operating budget, a province of 4.7 million people, generating $17 billion from a single resource sector. Canada's oil reserves jumped from 5 billion barrels to 173 billion when the oil sands were fully counted. 97% of that oil is in Alberta. Nearly every barrel of Canadian oil wealth exists because of one province's geology. All of it locked behind geography that makes it harder, more expensive, and more complicated to access than almost any other reserve on Earth. Number 4, the Indigenous discovery. Here is a fact that no textbook puts on the first page. Alberta's oil was known thousands of years before Europeans arrived. Indigenous peoples used the bitumen along the Athabasca River to waterproof their canoes. They built economies around it. They understood what it was long before any geologist gave it a name. In 1719, a Cree trader brought a sample of bituminous sands to a Hudson's Bay Company post. European traders noted it. Geologists mapped it through the 19th century. But for nearly 200 years, nobody could figure out how to make money from oil that didn't flow. The first commercial oil sands operation started in 1967, 250 years after that first recorded European contact. The oil was always there. The geography was always the obstacle. Coming up, the engineering operation that moved an entire industry into the middle of nowhere. The goal that sounds impossible even now, and the number one fact about Alberta that explains why this landlocked, mountain-blocked, frozen province changed the global energy map forever. Don't stop now. Number 3, the city that shouldn't exist. Fort McMurray sits in northeastern Alberta, 435 kilometers north of Edmonton, deep in the boreal forest, connected to the outside world by a single highway. It is the operational center of the Athabasca oil sands. In 1960, it had roughly 1,000 residents. Today, it has over 75,000. A city built from nothing in one of the most remote and inhospitable environments in North America, specifically to extract oil from sand. And in May 2016, the entire city evacuated overnight. A wildfire, driven by dry conditions and high winds, swept toward Fort McMurray so fast that 90,000 people left in hours, the largest wildfire evacuation in Canadian history. Entire neighborhoods burned. The highway out of the city was clogged for miles in both directions. The fire burned 590,000 hectares, caused $10 billion in insured damages, and within months, the workers came back, because the oil was still there. There are no natural geographic reasons for Fort McMurray to exist, but the oil underneath it has proven stronger than every reason to leave. Number 2, the goal that defies geography. Alberta's current oil production is 4.1 million barrels per day. Its long-term goal is 8 million barrels per day by 2035, double the current output. From the same landlocked province, behind the same mountain ranges, through the same limited pipeline network. To move 8 million barrels per day out of a landlocked region with one Pacific pipeline, Alberta would need infrastructure that does not yet exist, political agreements that have not been reached, and markets willing to absorb a volume of oil that would make Alberta one of the largest producers on Earth. The geographic impossibility is not being solved. It is being pushed harder. Number 1, the trap that built an empire. In the 1860s, geologists knew the oil sands existed. They could see the bitumen seeping out of the riverbanks of the Athabasca. They knew the scale was enormous. But for 100 years, nobody could solve the geographic problem. How do you build an industry in a place with no roads, no railways, no ports, no workers, no infrastructure, and extract oil that doesn't even flow? The answer? You build everything from scratch. Railways into the wilderness, highways through the forest, pipelines across 3 mountain ranges, cities in the middle of nowhere, processing plants so large they can be seen from space, and you do it across 150 years, at a cost of over $1 trillion injected into the Canadian economy. Alberta didn't overcome its geography, it buried it under infrastructure, and what was left was the 4th largest proven oil reserve on Earth, producing 4.1 million barrels per day, generating $153 billion in annual revenue. Mining operations so vast they are visible from space, from a landlocked province that geography designed to fail. The trap is still there. The mountains haven't moved. The pipelines are still not enough. The Alberta penalty still exists, but so does the oil. And in the end, the oil won. Follow Map Wizardry for more, because the map always tells the truth.